Hello and welcome to our regular live session. It's our webinar number 5, and it will be devoted to the complex cases of segmentation and biomodeling with Inobitec DICOM Viewer Pro software. Before we start, I would like to check the sound, whether it is okay, and video. Just type something in the chat. If you see us clearly, if you hear us okay. I will try to follow the chat during the stream, and we will answer your questions if there will be some in the chat. So in recent years, the fields of medical imaging, computer vision, and machine learning have advanced significantly. This enables the creation of highly accurate and detailed models of human anatomy, which are then used in various applications, including surgical planning, medical education, and research. Many universities and hospitals have recently started their own labs where they take visual diagnostics and treatment planning almost to the next level. Today, I'm happy to welcome an experienced professional in the field of biomodeling and a true artist of post-processing. This is the head of Radiology department at Casa de Saúde, São José, Henrique Arume Guenka. Hello, Henrique. It's nice to have you here with us today.
Hi, everyone in the audience. Good evening. In Brazil, here is good morning for the Brazilian audience. And again, thanks for inviting me to show some of my skills with your software, with the Inobitec DICOM Viewer. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Henrique Guenka. I'm Brazilian, and actually, I'm the coordinator of the diagnostic Viewer service at Casa de Saúde São José, which is located in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I have been a radiologist specializing in neuroimaging for about 16 years. And in my past history, before studying medicine, I studied engineering for about 4 years, which gave me the knowledge and the background to be able to apply in the area in which I work today, which is radiology.
Perfect. And before we start our demo, I would like to ask you about your lab. How did you start it? What was your workflow process? And perhaps you would like to describe how it changed during the time. That would be interesting for the audience, I guess.
Okay. So as I said, I studied engineering, so I'm a technology enthusiast. And I started reading and studying about 3D printing. We started with the 3D printing process. So I started reading and studying around the 2010s when I bought my first 3D printing kit that took me a lot of time to assemble it, a lot of tries and errors, but in the end, everything was fine. And from there, I fell in love with the 3D printing because 3D printing opens a new whole world in your creativity. You started being a maker. And I thought, why not drawing radiology images and the 3D printing? So I started rehearsing how to extract structures from CAT scans and MRI scans, convert them into 3D objects so it would 3D printing them. So first of all, we started printing an anatomical model of bones, vessels, and tumors that we extracted from CAT scans. But we thought we need something more sophisticated. Let me be clear, because when you have a 3D model in your hands, it's just one color. It has the advantage that you can touch it, you can see, you can feel it, but that's only one color. And sometimes you have many vessels, tumors, and things attached to it that you have to paint it manually. So it was a little, I think that was time consuming. And you need to have a little bit of artistic skills to paint the 3D model. And we started so it was when we started with the 3D advanced reconstruction model that we call it, that we use in our lab today. And in this method, we use textures and lights to create a more 3D sensation to the surgeons, so they can better understand the pathology position, so they can better understand the pathology relationship with the other adjacent structures. They like it very much. They think it's more pleasant because it feels more real. And talking a little bit of a lab around the 2019, we officially created our lab that we called Advanced 3D Reconstruction Lab, that is inside our diagnostic image service. And I'm very pleased to be running. And in addition to reconstructions and 3D printing, we also use the virtual reality and the augmented reality methods as a types of visualization methods. So the surgeon can choose which type of visualization method he wants to see the image.
I'm always impressed to hear such stories, and I admire how technologies progressed for the recent times, and I'm really grateful to those who take part in this. And in this regard, I'm interested to know how you and your lab and your hospital benefit from the proper software. Can you name us the advantages which you think can be relevant for such types of programs?
Sure, Agri. We think that one of the key steps in creating anatomical models is the process of medical segmentation. Medical segmentation is when you extract structures from the images, from the 2D images, can be CAT scan or MRI scans, and you separate them. It's a pretty challenging task. It's a time-consuming task. It requires knowledge, it requires anatomy knowledge, and it requires some skills. And with your software, with Inobitec DICOM Viewer, realize that your software has a wide range of tools that can benefit us to do the segmentation job and make it faster.
Yeah. The time is the crucial factor for healthcare, and I'm happy that we've managed to create such a program which can help you to cut it down.
And the more we use the software, the more expertise we acquire. And as I said, the segmentation of anatomical parts is the foundation of all the 3D reconstructions. So without good segmentation, you don't have a precise anatomical model, and it complicates sometimes surgeons' life because you can cut out some part of the tumor, you can cut out some important relationship that the tumor has with adjacent structures. So it's a very sensitive part of the process. And your software allows me to choose several ways to segment to do the segmentation process. Depending on the quality of the study, even if the exam has some noise, it has some artifacts, or even if the contrast is not very good, because you need to have good contrast in the exam to do a good segmentation. Mm-hmm. But your software proved me that even then, it should be possible to make a good segmentation by choosing the right tool. You have a wide variety of tools. You can choose the tools that you think that for that case is appropriate for you.
Yeah, that's true. And I have to say a couple of words actually about the program we are going to use today for the demonstration. So Inobitec DICOM Viewer Pro is the multi-platform medical software designed for advanced medical diagnostics from one hand and image processing from the other. And there is as Henrique said, there is a wide range of extended tools, among which is 3D reconstruction and segmentation, which we'll be speaking today. You can find the link to the program trial in the chat. I shall also mention that it has been recently cleared by Anvisa, so now it can be officially used as a medical device software in Brazil. Now I think it's time for you, Henrique, to show you the cases you've prepared, and I wish you good luck, and the stage is yours. Please enjoy the process.
Thanks, let me share my screen here with the audience. So let's start with our first case. That is a bone segmentation. It is a CAT scan from the left shoulder, and the patient suffered a fall from his height and fractured the glenoid. So the orthopedic surgeon asked us to do the 3D advanced reconstruction to better understand the glenoid fracture. So now I'm going to load the exam. It's important to say here that we usually use the standard filter instead of the bone filter. Why? The bone filter inserts a lot of noise. It has the sensation of more resolution, but it's more noisier than the softer ones. And noise in the segmentation process is a bad thing. We don't want noise. So you only use the standard filter when you use the segmentation process. So you're gonna load it in the MPR view. Just let me erase it. Okay. So first of all, we need to create a mask for the bones. How are we gonna do that? We're gonna select this tool here. I like for the bone structures, use the automatic color lookup table here for the bones, because it gives me the intensity I needed to only separate the bones. Gonna click OK. And we're gonna check in the 2D images in the MPR view if all of the bones are marked in green. Our mask is not ready yet. We are just checking if the bones are selected. So to create the mask, we select this tool that is called Segmentation from Point by Mask. Select it. Now you're going to click on the bones we want separate. In this case, I'm going to click on the humors. So now you can see that in the 3D view, that the humor is already isolated. It's important to say here that why it didn't propagate to the rest of the bone structures. Because there is a gap here. There is a gap of pixels here that are not connecting the humors to the other bone structures. So here we can easily separate the humors. So we're gonna rename this mask as humerus. Now we're gonna create another mask for the scapula. We're gonna do the same process here. Select the same tool here, that's segmentation from point by mask, and gonna click on the scapula. Now we can see in the 3D view that the scapula is in red and the humerus is in yellow. They are separate in different colors. But you can notice that the scapula has some bone structures that I don't want in the final image. And that's the clavicle and part of the cervical spine. So I'm gonna need to clean it. How can we clean this thing here? There is a little bit of connection here in the acromioclavicular joint, joining the scapula to the clavicle. We can use the scissors tool. That's the easier way to do this. What we're gonna do is cut out this connection. So now you can see it's disconnected. And there's a tool here that's very useful. That's called Cut All Except the Objects. This tool here, you're going to select the object you want to remain, and all the other structures that are not connected will be erased. That's it. So now we have scapula, only the scapula, and only the humerus totally segmenting. So we can take out the humerus just to see the scapula. We can change the color. I like to use this color lookup table for the bones. It's more pleasant to see. So now we can see the glenoid fracture from all sides and from all angles you want. That's the final result the surgeon wants. He wants to inspect more carefully the glenoid fracture. And as he requested our 3D advanced reconstruction, I'm going to show you how the final result looks like. This one. So
that's the result of your post-processing, right?
Yes. Just let me go back here. That's the result of our post-processing. After selecting segmenting in your software, we extract the images as STL files or as PLI files and insert in our method to do the advanced reconstruction.
Very good.
I don't know if you are aware of this, but in radiology they also call it cinematic rendering. But cinematic rendering is a brand of a big vendor. They usually use this name to generalize this advanced 3D viewing.
Okay. So, shall we move to another case?
Yes. Let's move to the second case. So, our second case is the virtual colonoscopy. Virtual colonoscopy is a CAT scan that is done after insufflating the colon with air. So I think that the main indication of the virtual colonoscopy is when the endoscopist has some difficulties to progress his probe in a segment of the colon, or due to stenosis, or due to some tortuosity of that segment. And he usually requests the virtual colonoscopy to better understand, looking the outside of the colon, the anatomy of the colon as a whole. So that's what we do. So I'm gonna load the CAT scan of the virtual colonoscopy. This one is a very fast one segmentation process. And the tools here allows me to do this in a very fast way. So first of all, we need to create the mask. So same thing, we're gonna select this tool, but now I'm gonna use the threshold method. I'm gonna use the low intensity threshold method because I want to separate the airy structures. So I'm gonna input -500. We're gonna check if all the airy structures are separated, especially the colon, special attention in the colon. Now I'm gonna select again the segmentation from point by mask, and you're gonna click in any part of the colon you want to propagate our mask. Let's select the 3D view. So it's done. All the column isolated. You can see here in the second and ascending column that we have some diverticulum. There are other diverticulum here in the beginning of the sigmoid. And in this case, we can see that we have many tortuosities around the column, especially in the transverse portion. It should be a little more straight here, but it has some big tortuosities here. And we have some big tortuosities in the sigmoid segment of the column. And maybe that this prevented him from progressing the probe in the conventional colonoscopy. We can also here, if we want, to separate the bone structures, just to see the relationship of the colon with the bone structures. That's another easy thing to do. So we're going to create a mask, as we did in the previous case. Select the color capillary for the bones. Okay. Check if the bone structures are marked. Use this tool of the segmentation from point my mask, click on it, and it's done. We have now the bone structures and the column, and you can see the relationship of the bone with the pelvic structures, the pelvic bone structures. Very easy, very fast, few clicks. I think this can speed up the process of the segmentation professional.
Yeah, that's true. I admire how easily you do this. That looks like almost a couple of clicks of the mouse, and that's it.
Yes, and
we've got one question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
We've got a question in the chat from one of the viewers. Is it possible to change the center of rotation? Do you know how to change the center of rotation?
Yes, this here.
Okay.
We can centrate it. So we can gonna change it again to this spot.
Okay. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for demonstration. Go ahead, please.
So I'm gonna show the final result of our process of our advanced view reconstruction. That is this one, the vertical colonoscopy. As we segmented and put lighting textures. And we also do some brief animations of these models. Surgeons also like this brief animations.
Wow, that looks pretty natural.
Yes, and I think this gives a more real feeling for the physician and for the surgeons. I think that's one of the key points. They like it very much.
Agreed.
And we can also do like an endoscopic viewing of the column, go through inside the column.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice. We also have the feature in the program which is called virtual endoscopy, which you can use to fly the camera through the hollow objects, using for colonoscopy as well.
Okay, shall we move to the next case?
Yeah, go on, please.
Okay, so our third case is an airway segmentation. In this case, the patient has an endobronchus tumor in the right main bronchus, and the thoracic surgeon asked us to do the advanced reconstruction so we could better see the position of the tumor inside the bronchus and its relationship with structures outside the bronchus. So I'm gonna load the study. So same process again. So let's change the as we want the areas, we're going to create a mask again for the areas using the threshold mode, low intensity, about minus 400. I think should be okay. Yes. So checking the MPR view if everything with air structures is marked. So now we're going to create our mask. I'm going to select this tool again, segmentation from point to mask, and I'm going to click on the any area part of the image. So now you can see that we have trachea, bronchus, and both lungs in the same mask. What we want to do here is isolate trachea, bronchus from right and left lungs. We're going to isolate all these three structures. And I'm going to show how to do that with, again, with a few clicks. It's possible to do that with a few clicks and very fast. I'm going to name it mask. That is going to be our base mask. And as we're going to segment three structures, we're going to create three new masks identical to this. So I'm going to select this tool here, copy the actual surface. I'm going to click it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. The first one, we're going to name it airways. Second one, right lung. And the third one, we're going to left lung. How are you going to isolate these three structures? You're going to use markers here. So I'm going to select this tool, markers. I'm going to put it in the 3D view. So the markers for the areas, I'm going to click only one point in the trachea. For the left lung, one point in the left lung. So this one, this is right lung. Right lung, and just one point from the left lung. After that, we're going to use the watershed method here. Clicking the watershed method. It's important to notice that the source of the image you're going to isolate will interfere in your final result. So you're going to use the source of the mask we created, because if you use the base volume, everything will be put back in your final result, and we don't want that. So we're going to select the mask, click OK, and now it's done. That's it. We have right lung, left lung, and the trachea isolated. To see if the trachea is correctly separated, we can take out the lungs, and now you can see the trachea and the bronchus and the segments of the bronchus also isolated. Very fast, very easy. So we can see here there's a notch. This notch here is where the tumor is located. I'm going to show you the 2D images here. Where is the tumor? The tumor is right here, inside the trachea. We can paint it quickly, the tumor, to see it inside the bronchus and in the 3D view.
Enrique, sorry, can I ask you a question? Sure. It's going to be my personal one. Do you use the same settings for the mask depending on the case? I mean, for the tumor, you use this these parameters to segment the tumor. For the airways, another parameter. For the bones, the third one.
For bones, also, I always use the color capture for the bones. That is pre-made. So they give me the intensity range that I need. For the areas, I usually use around negative 500 to negative 300 to create the mask. The lower the intensity on the lower threshold, the less structures, very structured, and the less lung you get inside your image. Yeah. Because lungs has a higher intensity than the trachea itself. So I think that for the areas around negative 500 to negative 300, it's okay, it's good.
Great.
And
Thanks
for
for
the
the
vessels,
explanation.
depends on the intensity of the contrast and the quality of the exam. I usually put a Hoy inside the vessel to see how many Hounsfield units it gives me, so I can have a range which I can use when I select the mask. Okay,
so first you measure on the 2D images, then you go to the dialog of the settings and you just input the value. Okay, good.
Value, yes.
Thanks for your explanation. That's clear right now.
So that's our final results. So very easy way to segment the area. All the areas are segmented and isolated from the lungs. You can see here is the left lung.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see here is the right lung. You're gonna see inside.
And you can also show how to hide the markers if they interfere with your picture.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, you can also show how to hide the markers if they interfere with your picture.
Okay. Hide structure markers.
Yeah.
So we take all those markers out of the 3D view. That's it. So shall we move to the fourth case?
Yeah, off you go.
Okay.
Feel free to do this.
So let's check here. Our fourth case. Yes, our fourth case is a CAT scan. In fact, is a CT angiography of the thoracic aorta to see a dissected aneurysm in the proximal thoracic aorta. Vascular surgeon asked us to do the 3D reconstruction, so he could see to better understand the topography and to better understand how it could place in the length of the processes we could use in this type of dissection. So I'm going to load the exam here. I'm going to load the contrasted one phase, the angiographic phase, NPR view again. Let's put the 3D view here. And again, we're going to start creating the mask. One thing I would like to say that I thought that interfered and helped me a lot when I did the segmentation. In the 3D view, you can also use the color lookup table that is here. And I realized that when I selected the color lookup table for the skin, it somehow softens the image and reduces a little bit of the noise in the speckles in the image. It makes it a little bit easier to do the segmentation. I realized it using the automatic vessel segmentation that we're gonna talk in the next case. Without the color table for the skin and with the color table for the skin, the final result is completely different. So I think that it's important to say that when we use this color table, it helps to reduce the noise, and I think that the algorithm, especially when you use the automatic segmentation vessels, it can see better, I think, the pixels than when we don't use this color table. So now we're going to create the mask. So I'm going to create the mask for the vessels, especially for the aorta. So we're going to use the threshold high intensity one. I'm going to put 250. With 250, you can see that only the aorta, basically here, is selected with the pulmonary veins that has a high intensity contrast. The pulmonary artery is not marked. And also the bone structures are also marked. So segmentation from point by mask again, click on the aorta, and we have our mask here. Gonna need mask. Okay. So we're gonna isolate the bones, the aorta, that's our region of interest, that's our structure of interest. And you're gonna need to isolate also here the pulmonary vein that also selected. So we're gonna multiply it 3 times. One for the bones, one for the aorta, and one for the pulmonary veins. So I'm gonna name the first one aorta, second one pulmonary veins, and the third one bones. So again, I'm gonna use markers here. I'm gonna use our 3D view again. I'm gonna put some markers here in the structures we want to separate. First of all, we're gonna put markers on the bones. Select the markers here, one marker here. One thing I like to do here is that we can change the size of the markers. So with only one marker, you can grab more structures. I'm gonna put 15 here. And I'm gonna rotate it with 3D view and put one more here in the spine. Okay. So I'm gonna select now aorta, and I'm gonna put some markers on the thoracic aorta here. One here, maybe one here on the root, one rotated to the back, and one more here in the descending portion of the aorta. And I'm gonna do the same for the pulmonary veins. Just located the pulmonary veins. The trunk is here, you can see. I'm gonna put one marker here, and you can increase the size about 15. And again, we're gonna use the watershed segmentation method. Important to say that select the mask as the source of your volume. Click OK. And it's done. Bones, pulmonary veins, and the aorta separate. I'm gonna take the bones out, take the pulmonary veins out so you can see the aorta. Here we have the dissection, the aneurysm that's dissected here in the ascending aorta just before the main brachiocephalic trunk.
Yeah, the algorithm has worked perfectly. You've just put a couple of markers.
Yes.
Yeah, the result is
no need to put, no need to put a lot of markers. The less markers you can use, the faster the job you're gonna finish your job faster without put some stress and a lot of markers along the structures. So we want, it's missing an important vessel here, that's the pulmonary artery. How can we isolate the pulmonary artery here? I'm gonna create another mask. I can remove this marker here because I don't need them anymore. Because we're gonna need to create new markers.
You can remove all markers from the marker option as well.
Okay. So you're gonna create a new mask. Now we need to get the pulmonary artery inside this mask. So you're gonna lower the threshold. Here is about 250, you're gonna put about around 100. So with 100, we can see that the pulmonary artery is painted, but also all other structures are painted too. Segmentation from point by mask, create your mask. Now it's important, let's name it mask 2. It's important to say that we need to subtract from this mask the structures we have already segmented, because I don't want them, I don't need them anymore. They are already separated. So I'm going to use this tool here that is subtracted related. I'm going to subtract mask 2 from aorta. I usually like to put the boundaries around 2 centimeters from the outside.
Millimeters.
Yes. Again, subtract the mask 2 from the pulmonary veins. Okay. And again, from the bones. Okay. Now you can see in our final image that there's a lot of garbage here.
That looks a little
that
messy.
we don't want. Yes, a little messy. So how can we clean it fast? With this tool here, cut or accept the object. So I'm gonna click here on the pulmonary artery trunk, and all the garbage
it's doing the
was
magic.
cleaned. So what we're gonna do now is to separate the pulmonary artery from the vena cava. That is right here. And also there's some structures here that we don't want. We can cut this thing out. We can use the scissors to disconnect them and clean. It's okay. So I'm going to create more two masks here, one for the pulmonary artery and one for the cava. Again, I'm going to use markers here. I'm going to put some markers here on the pulmonary artery, and I'm going to put one marker here on the cava, one here and one here. I'm going to run the watershed segmentation method again. Important to select the correct mask here, so mask 2. Okay, and done. There's a little bit of noise here that we can take it out. We can cut it using the scissors too. I like to cut it manually. This is a part of the trachea rings that are calcified. So let's clean it. It's rotated, if everything's okay. There's a little bit of noise here also. Okay. Let's go a little bit. And let's put back pulmonary vein and the aorta back in our final image. Let's change the color here to be more specific. Yes. Now it's okay. Now we have pulmonary artery, pulmonary veins, aorta, and vena cava totally isolated besides the bone structures here, also isolated. Change the color of the bones to be okay. That's the final result.
Yeah. Just to summarize what we have done and answering the question which we have in the chat right now.
Okay.
So one of the users is asking, is it possible to use the anatomy segmentation to create STL files? Just to show, please, how to create the mask and export that. Create the mesh and export that.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. So after we created the mask, we need to transform it in a real 3D object in the digital world. Right here is only a mask. So you can click on this tool here. This is create surface for current structure. So we're going to create a mesh for that structure. We're going to triangulate all the surface of this structure. So we're going to create a mesh for the aorta. So now the 3D object is created. You can see that it's a little bit smoothed. It's not so rough. You can see, let me show here with the vena cava. Look for the vena cava. I'm going to create the mesh. You see is a little bit more smoothed because it is now triangulated. So now, if you want to export this as an STL file to work in another software, just select the mesh you want, and here, export mesh. I'm going to open a window, wait, and you can save it in your computer.
Yeah, you can save it in different types of formats.
Yes, yes, here. You can change as
PLY,
OBJ, STL, or PLY.
And GLB, the new one.
Yes, and GLB. The new one, GLB.
Can you please unfold the mesh line just to see which settings we have for the mesh?
Okay, here.
So we can adjust the opacity if we have a structure which has vessels inside, for example, lungs, so you can see through it.
Can make it a little more transparent. Change
Yeah.
the opacity.
And you can also adjust the triangles.
Yes, the complexity of the surface.
Yeah. But just be careful, because reducing the number of triangles, you affect the precision of the model. So some minor parts can disappear if you reduce the number of triangles. You
usually shrink the image when you reduce the number of triangles. It shrinks the model as a whole. So
you can also use, sorry, Henrique. You can also use the settings of the mesh. When you create the mesh, just click on the triangle option. Over there. Surface creation parameters, and you can use you can change some of the parameters of your mesh which you create, like smoothing pass count. It affects on how smooth you will get the surface, and some other settings for pre-processing, which we'll not cover today because we have a limited amount of time. But if you have any questions about how to use the program, or how to create the mesh, or how to segment, you can send the messages to us at our email, which will be below the video description. And you can also download the trial from the website to practice yourself. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always address us and we will help you. Please go on, Henrique. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, just to show the smoothing process here, going from 1 to 10, in the order, you can see that it gets more smooth, a more smooth surface. But you need to be careful when using a lot of smooth, because it also shrinks. You can see that the small vessels here are starting to disappear. I'm gonna put back the original one, this one, so I can see here. This thin vessel here disappeared when we grew the smoothing factor. So I'm gonna show now the final result of our 3D reconstruction of this aortic dissection. That is right here. This is the final image, the final animation that we sent to the surgeon.
Yeah, that looks really picturesque. Yeah.
And some static image that he also asked us to do. So you can see here the aorta and the esophagus behind it. On one side, that's looking left to right, and looking right to left. And that's it.
Very good.
So our last case, I'm gonna it's a very time-consuming case. So I recorded all the process, so I could speed up some part of the process, so it could not be too lengthy for the live. In this case, we're gonna isolate a ground glass nodule in the left, and let me check. The right inferior lobe of the inferior lobe is the right lung, and the thoracic surgeon asked us to do the reconstructions to see the relationship of this ground glass nodule with the arteries, veins, and bronchus of the right lung. Let me play the video here. In this case, we're going to show you how to use the automatic vessel segmentations tool that this software has, that I think it's fantastic, because with one click, you can isolate basically all the thoracic vessels and isolate them individually. Just me show you how to do this. So use the 3D view. It's important to say again that we're going to load the color lookup table for the screen. That makes a lot of difference in the final result. And I'm going to select the tool here, the automatic vessel segmentation. It has two parameters here. The first one is maximum vessel diameter. So the algorithm will identify here is 2 centimeters. So the vessel that has less than 2 centimeters will be segmented. The vessel that has more than 2 centimeters in diameter will not be segmented. And the vessel tree structure count is the number of the vessel you want to isolate in different masks. I put it here 15 and hit OK. This whole process took about 3.5 minutes using a MacBook Pro 16 with M1 chip. My MacBook Pro has 16 gigs of memory and took about 3 minutes, a little bit less than 3 minutes on the PC desktop. But PC desktop is more robust one. I have 128 gigs of memory, DDR5, and the specs are very different from the MacBook one. So this is the final result. You can see that a lot of garbage here, and I'm going to clean it out just to let in the image what we want. That is the thoracic vessels. Right now what I'm doing is the cleaning job. Take all the garbage. You can double click on the structure you don't want to take it out of the image. Just double click on it. Very easy. And now you can see that your vessel tree is isolated. This may be the left pulmonary, this is the right pulmonary artery trunk. This is the left pulmonary artery trunk. And you have all the 4 veins: inferior, superior left, inferior, superior right. After I did the cleaning job, now I'm going to do complete the segmentation process. Because as you can see, you don't have the trunks here, the main trunks, because we selected in the tool, in the automatic vessel segmentation tool, 2 centimeters is the maximum diameter. Usually the trunks has more than 2 centimeters, around 2.8, around 3.0 for the pulmonary artery trunk, and much more, around 5 and 6 for the pulmonary vein trunks. So the trunks were not segmented here. So what I'm going to do now is put them back in the final image. So I'm creating the masks to isolate them and to isolate also the bone structures. So I'm going to subtract my mask from all the structures I have already segmented because they don't interest me anymore. They are already isolated. I don't need to work with them anymore. So I subtract my mask from all those structures. One more. And okay, now the mask is done. I'm going to replicate the mask 4 times here, I think. Just one more, yes. And because one is for the aorta, the first one, I'm going to select the color and I'm going to name it aorta. Second one will be the pulmonary artery trunk. The third one will be the pulmonary vein trunk. It's already missing. And the fourth one will be the bone structures. So, next step is use again markers. Put markers on the bone, increase the size to be more easier. Few more markers. So I'm going to put a marker on the aorta. The aorta in this case here, because of the proximity of the other structures, we may need to put a little bit more markers, especially around the brachiocephalic trunk. A marker in the pulmonary artery trunk. I'm start with the number. Sorry. I'm going to correct the number. It's 15. And the last one in the pulmonary vein trunk. That's right there inside the rib cage. Now we're going to run the watershed tool. Select the mask, wait for it to finish. And I think that's it. You're going to see that the cava is not separated yet. So I created a new mask to the cava. I'm going to put a mark on the cava. Let's change the color to be more specific. I'm going to run the tool again. And I'm going to rotate it. So you're going to see that the aorta is not well segmented. So we're going to need to put one more marker in the aorta near the brachiocephalic trunk. Now it's okay. And I'm going to put one more marker in the cava to isolate it. And it's done. Now we have all the vessel structures isolated. I'm going to take the bones out and put the cava back because we have some garbage in the cava. We're going to use the scissors to cut this thing that we don't want attached to the cava. We're going to use the cut or accept the object. And now it's done. Aorta, pulmonary artery, all the left and right pulmonary trunks, main pulmonary vein, left, right, superior, inferior pulmonary vein, all of them individually isolated very fast. Took around 10 to 12 minutes to complete the whole process. Very fast.
That looks amazing. That looks amazing. Thank you for this demonstration. Do you have your post-processing stuff for that?
Yes, yes.
Can you please show us? How does it look like?
It's right here. sorry, this one. So the tumor was right here in the inferior right lung, and we can see the relationship of the tumor with the pulmonary artery segments and pulmonary vein segments. This is the final result.
Very nice. Very good.
You can see that this is the same patient. I'm going to show you why it's the same patient. You can see that the right lung is much more shorter than the left lung because this patient has a right diaphragm paralysis. You can see the delivery is displaced upwards because the right diaphragm was paralyzed. We can check it in the 2D images here. I'm going to put the NPR here so we can check it. Here. The left diaphragm up and the right lung with less volume than the left lung. So it's the same patient that we use to do our reconstruction. And I think that's it, everyone. That's our final case.
Very good, very good. I'm impressed how skillful you are in the program. Though, how long have you been working with Inobitec DICOM Viewer Pro?
We started talking, and you sent me the demo for the 2.7 version.
So it's around half a year, right? 6 months.
Yes, half a year.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's because you've already had a lot of experience operating different softwares, and you already have your own strategy how to segment, and you've just needed some time to get used to the logics of the program, to the algorithms of the program, and understand how it works, just to master, and of course study some new tools which you already experienced, right?
Okay, so let me say some final words here about the software. We are always open to new market options when we talk about DICOM views. I personally have used a lot of them, and when we start talking, when you find me in the LinkedIn, and we started talking, and you asked me if we could try the software, and we accepted the challenge. Was the 2.7 version. We were very pleased when we started using it because the first thing we noticed that was the wide variety of tools, especially oriented to the segmentation process that other softwares don't have. And this is I think this is the key point of the software that make it the segmentation process. That's a complex process, much more easier and faster, because time is very important in the radiology department. You cannot stress much of the time, and every tool that we have that make our job faster, it's good. It's good.
Thank you very much for your feedback, and I think that's because we develop our program not only from the point of segmentation and considering this preoperative planning process. We also develop different features for advanced diagnostics like vessels analysis, brain perfusion, DTI and fiber tracking, and so on and so forth. And right now, I'm happy that we are officially available for the radiologists in Brazil. We're going actually in 1 month, 30th of April. We will be in Sao Paulo presenting at the JPR event and we will be happy to see everybody there to meet personally. And I invite you to visit our stand and to work with us there. We will be glad to have you beside us. And another thing, I would like just to express my gratitude to everybody who was here with us today watching the stream. And I hope we will grow the number of our fans and users, continue progressing with the program, and introducing new features to the users to make the process of diagnostics and treatment planning as easy as possible for the professionals. I thank you very much, Henrique, for the stream today, and I hope to see you soon in Brazil personally. Thanks everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you, Adam. Bye-bye.